Good evening, everyone. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a look at some of today's top stories. Selling sensitive military information to China. 2 U.S. Navy sailors have been arrested on charges related to taking bribes for secrets. Governor Newsom and DeSantis are one step closer to debating. The Florida governor has just accepted Newsom's challenge. Some colleges around the country are still enforcing COVID vaccines. Many of the California CSU and private schools are among those that still have mandates. Authorities have indicted 2 U.S. Navy sailors on charges related to espionage for China. They allegedly provided sensitive information about the U.S. Navy and military to the communist regime in exchange for bribes.
2 U.S. Navy sailors have been arrested on charges related to national security and tied to China. The FBI arrested 26-year-old petty officer Wen-Heng Zhao, also known as Thomas Zhao, from Monterey Park on Wednesday. He worked at Naval Base Ventura County. He is charged with conspiracy and receipt of a bribe by a foreign official.
The charges demonstrate the PRC's determination to obtain information that is critical to our national defense by any means, so it could be used to their advantage. The alleged conduct also represents a violation of the solemn obligation of members of our military to defend our country, to safeguard our secrets, and to protect their fellow service members.
The indictment alleges that Zhao received bribes from a Chinese intelligence officer in exchange for disclosing non-public sensitive U.S. military information.
In addition, we charge that Mr. Zhao took photographs of electrical diagrams and blueprints for a radar system located at a U.S. military base in Okinawa, Japan. We also allege that Mr. Zhao transmitted to the intelligence officer working for the People's Republic of China details about the Navy's operational security, including photographs and videos of the interior of naval bases located at Ventura and at San Clemente Island, which is the Navy's only live fire facility used for testing military equipment and operations.
In exchange for the information Zhao provided, he was paid about $14,800. This reportedly began in August 2021 and continued through at least May 2023. If he is convicted, Zhao would face up to 20 years in federal prison. And in a separate case, 22-year-old U.S. Navy sailor Jin Chao Wei, or Patrick Wei, was also arrested Wednesday for espionage charges. He was stationed at Naval Base San Diego.
According to our indictment, Wei provided China with photographs of military hardware, including guns, vehicles, and planes. He delivered information about U.S. Marines involved in an upcoming international maritime warfare exercise, and he sold scores of technical and mechanical manuals related to the operation and power structures of amphibious assault ships. Some of the manuals contained information deemed quote-unquote critical technology by the U.S. Navy.
In both cases, the Chinese intelligence officer directed the Navy sailors to hide their conspiracy and destroy evidence of the schemes.
A mobile security company found spyware hiding in the Google Play Store recently. Users who download the applications could get their information stolen, including location and phone contacts.
A mobile security company revealed that they detected 2 spyware hiding in the Google Play Store. Known as Prodio, the company made the discovery earlier in July. Together, the apps File Recovery and Data Recovery and File Manager have up to 1.5 million users. Both are from the same developer and feature similar malicious behaviors.
First, on the store, they were showing 1.5 million installations, but no reviews at all, which is weird because usually when users use an application, they like to give review, and there is a proportion of the number of installation that we find in the reviews. And this one, no reviews at all. So we think there were most fake installation to lure user into thinking the applications are legitimate and safe.
According to Prodio, the apps are programmed to launch without users' interaction and to silently exfiltrate sensitive users' data towards various malicious servers based in China. Stolen data include users' contact lists and all connected accounts such as email, social networks, pictures, audio and video contents, real-time user location, network provider, and more.
Finally, there was another behavior is that once installed the applications, they hide their icons. So users install them, maybe they forget about them. Usually we have on a personal or on a corporate mobile device more than hundreds of applications installed. And so they just hide their icon from the main page to make sure people forget about them and make it harder to delete, because you have to go in the system settings in the application list to delete them.
Pradio recommends deleting the apps immediately. To avoid being a victim of spyware, they do not recommend downloading apps that do not have any reviews with thousands of users, read reviews, and carefully read permissions before accepting.
Speaking of personal information, your car could be sharing your data, and California regulators want to put an end to it. Most cars today have sensors and cameras, which track what's going on in and outside the car. Insurance companies often use it to determine rates and track safe driving. But California's privacy regulator wants to review the privacy practices of the use of personal information from cars. It's something regulators in Europe are also looking into. The California Privacy Protection Agency will look at how the data is collected and decide whether companies are following state law on the use of that data. A debate between two state governors? Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis has accepted the challenge from rumored Democratic candidate Gavin Newsom. This comes as both men have been engaging in a war of words.
In an interview on Fox with Sean Hannity, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said he accepts Governor Gavin Newsom's debate challenge.
Absolutely, I'm game. Let's get it done. Just tell me when and where. We'll do it.
Newsom has been challenging the Florida governor since last year.
We'll do a 2-hour debate with Ron DeSantis.
I make it 3.
3-hour debate with
Yeah, make
do
it.
I hear 4?
And do it with 1 day notice with no notes.
The governors have increasingly criticized each other in recent months. The two have exchanged war of words over Florida helping arrange the transport of illegal immigrants to Sacramento, a city that has pledged to be a sanctuary city. Newsom accused Florida of engaging in state-sanctioned kidnapping and said on Fox that what happened was a stunt. Florida officials have noted that the illegal immigrants signed waivers before they were flown from the border to California. Last September, DeSantis wrote on Twitter that Newsom's, quote, hair gel is interfering with his brain function. His remarks come after Newsom asked the DOJ to investigate Florida and other states for possible kidnapping crimes by flying illegal immigrants to other parts of the country. DeSantis has been governor since 2019 after several terms as U.S. congressman. Newsom has also been governor since 2019 after serving as the state's lieutenant governor. His name has circulated as a possible 2024 Democrat contender, particularly if President Joe Biden drops out of the race. Biden is currently running for re-election. Newsom declined to say whether people are asking him to run for president.
Vaccine mandates are still enforced in many of California's CSU and private universities. They are among the 100-plus colleges in the U.S. that still have COVID vaccine mandates. That's more than 3 years after the pandemic first started. NTD's Arian Pastor has more on this new report.
An organization called No College Mandates recently posted this list, saying over 104 colleges in the U.S. are still mandating COVID vaccines for students. Among those institutions are Harvard, Rutgers, Johns Hopkins, and more. Back in May, the WHO and the CDC both said COVID-19 isn't a public health emergency anymore. No College Mandates describes itself as a group of concerned parents, doctors, nurses, professors, and more. I spoke with Dr. Clayton Baker, a medical expert with the organization.
Does it make sense to still have these mandates from a medical standpoint?
No, it makes no sense whatsoever. We knew as early as mid to late 2020 that the death rate and serious injury rate for young, healthy people was vanishingly small with COVID. So it really never made sense.
What's more, Dr. Baker tells me there are certain risks tied to young adults taking the COVID vaccine. He says studies show there's an increased risk of myocarditis after getting a COVID mRNA vaccine, especially for young men. And cardiologist Dr. Peter McCullough previously testified on the issue under oath. He said over 200 peer-reviewed studies show cardiovascular syndromes are directly attributable to COVID-19 vaccination.
What's more dangerous at this point, actually having a vaccine mandate or not having a mandate, which means there could be unvaccinated students probably getting COVID or possibly getting COVID?
Put it this way, the risk-benefit analysis for mandating vaccines in college students is absolutely to the negative. The benefit is negligible if it even exists, and the potential harms are death of students.
Almost 4,000 colleges across the U.S. have already let go of vaccine mandates or never required a COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Baker says the 100 still left should follow suit. Ariane Pastar, NTD News.
We'll now take a short break, everyone, but here's what we have for you when we come right back. A wildfire continues raging in the Mojave National Preserve. But as we're here, hope can still emerge from disasters. Smash and grab thefts are still happening in broad daylight. Thieves are becoming more brazen, putting communities on high alert. It's back to school season, so it's time for students to prepare their backpacks, pencils, and notebooks. And one California nonprofit is making sure kids fully supplied. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today, everybody. I'm your host, David Zhang. News of wildfires are often disheartening, especially to nature lovers. However, as our next story tells us, hope can still be found in the midst of disaster.
The recent York fire decimated a large portion of Mojave National Preserve in California. Many iconic Joshua trees, junipers, and other vegetation didn't escape the devastation. Although the preserve is no stranger to fires, the York fire claimed at least 80,000 acres there.
Desert fires are common, right? Because we do get weather systems that come through, lightning fires, you might get vehicle fires out in the middle of the desert that spread into the vegetation.
However, park rangers hold out hope that the Joshua trees and surrounding vegetative growth will eventually grow back naturally.
We're heartbroken to lose one of the most beautiful spots in Mojave National Preserve. It's really sad, Carruthers Canyon, it burned, but we also know that fire has been part of the landscape for thousands of years, for millions of years. It's been a continual part of the landscape.
Wildfires, like other natural disasters, are seen here as an unfortunate but normal part of life. Growth, destruction, and regrowth will continue in a perpetual cycle.
There has been a surge in thefts occurring across California in broad daylight, causing concern among residents and leaving communities on high alert. NTD's Christina Corona has more.
This week alone, California has experienced a troubling string of thefts. Shocking video shows a group of men stealing from the Gucci store at the Westfield Century City Mall at 3 p.m. on Monday. The video, which was posted on Twitter, shows the men rushing out of the store with several luxury bags and suitcases. Authorities said the group involved 9 people. On the same day, Jules by Allen, a jewelry store located in Irvine, was also robbed at 12:30 p.m. Surveillance cameras show 3 suspects rushing into the jewelry store with large empty trash cans. The thieves were wearing all black and used hammers to break the glass display cases. 2 women shopping immediately hit the floor. Allen, the owner of Jules by Allen, told news outlets, "I'm numb. I am absolutely numb trying to figure out what's our next step." He goes on to say, "I do all the jewelry, and all the stuff that was in the showcases were my own pieces, and just everything disappeared." Irvine Police Sergeant Carrie Davies estimates the robbers got away with more than $900,000 in jewelry. Another video shared on Twitter this week by @EndWokeness shows the Louis Vuitton store in Los Angeles being looted in broad daylight. The quick video shows several people running out of the store with handfuls of designer luxury bags. And just yesterday, CNN reporter Kyung La had her car window smashed while covering news in Oakland. She posted a video of the incident on her Twitter account saying, "Got broken into again, but this time our car was completely empty. We were across the street. This happened in seconds." Law also shared, "If you're here keeping track, This is the third time my CNN rented car has been broken into in the Bay Area in the last year. But I finally learned to not leave even a candy bar in the car anymore. Still doesn't stop the car break-in, but at least we don't lose anything. As of now, none of these thieves have been caught. Anyone with information on either of these cases is urged to contact authorities. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
It's one day away from talks between Hollywood and striking employees. We hear the voices of some actors on how meager pay affected their jobs, a major driver of the walkout.
For actors in Hollywood, it used to be a joke. A small residual check of under $1 would get you a few laughs, and if you presented it to one of the bartenders here at the Residuals Tavern in Studio City, it meant a drink on the house. And the check would be stuck on the wall. But with residuals now a pittance of what actors and writers used to receive, that joke isn't funny anymore. Actors like John O'Brien, who's appeared in shows like Grey's Anatomy and Pretty Little Liars, say penny payouts have become far more common.
You could come in here and people would laugh and say, hey, I got one for 90 cents, and you'd get a free drink. But I would imagine over the last 5 to 10 years, this place would have gone out of business if they kept doing that, because now it is so common for these residuals to be coming in on these new platforms that are ridiculously low.
How low? O'Brien says actors often find just 30 cents in the envelope. Residuals were created long ago to help actors and writers survive in between projects. They're doled out when a show or movie is aired after its initial release. But in today's TV streaming era, residuals have trickled to the point where actors and writers find it hard to earn enough just to live in LA. The paltry amount is one of the reasons why Hollywood is on strike.
You know, when the pie gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but your sliver of the pie stays the same, you know, it's after a while, enough is enough, and you have to stand up for fair wages.
Actor Michael Spellman says ongoing strikes have opened his eyes to the pay gap in Hollywood, and he worries if things continue as they are, fewer actors will earn enough to qualify for health insurance from the Actors Guild SAG-AFTRA.
It surprised me to find out that for 22 years I've been in the top 13% of actors, which blows my mind because I feel like there are definitely years where I'm struggling, and the top 13% consists of the people that are earning enough money to make insurance, which is at $26,470. And I feel like it's shrinking every year too. It becomes harder and harder because of what we're striking for. One of the many reasons we're striking is because of the lack of decent residuals. With inflation and everything, I feel like their share is getting bigger, and we're left with the scraps.
With new shows tabled due to the ongoing strike, a growing number of crew members are out of a job. Kirk Dinsmore, who helps with construction and other tasks on set, was throwing darts on the day Reuters visited the tavern. He hasn't worked on a set since March.
You know, there's a lot of family members that are being drastically affected by this. You know, there's people that got to pay their mortgages. I know a makeup artist that comes in here, he lost his apartment. I know some other people that do sound, like a couple months ago, having to move back in with his parents. You know, so this, you know, really extends to a lot of different routes, you know, and it affects a lot of people, you know.
The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which represents major studios, is under pressure to address demands on the picket lines. The group has proposed substantial increases in residuals, but hasn't released a detailed breakdown of it yet. While payment formulas for actors may confuse people outside Hollywood, actor Arabella Field, whose credits include House and Seinfeld, explained it this way.
We're you. We're the American worker. You know, we're the people working in the Amazon warehouse. It's the same thing. Everybody's getting squeezed.
The actors tell Reuters work stoppages will continue until they get what they want.
You know, if they think that they're gonna, you know, we're gonna quit because it's hot, or we're gonna quit because we're living check to check, well, because of the current system, we've all been living check to check, and we're used to that. So if anybody's a survivor, it's the actor. And I think that we're in it to win it, so we're out there as long as it takes.
It's back to school season, and thousands of California students are one step closer to being ready for school. Nonprofit organization Sacred Heart prepared 4,000 backpacks to make sure kids are fully supplied. NTD's David Lam was at the heart of it.
Children got to pick their favorite backpacks and what to load them with before school starts. This is Sacred Heart's mission, to help families like Anna Bonilla's over its 2-day event in San Jose, California.
Basically, it's the most important thing to be ready for school. The backpack, pencils, notebooks, binders, binder paper, and all that, because in school it's very important to be ready at all times.
As a mother of 4 kids, Bonilla says it gets expensive. Today, 3 of her kids, one in TK, 4th grade, and 9th grade, all picked up something for school to begin in August. Do you feel ready?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it's a blessing that we get it for free. It makes me feel normal. Like how school already started, like almost. Like it makes me feel like I'm in school.
The goal is to distribute 4,000 backpacks. That's the equivalent to 10 elementary schools. The most for the nonprofit's annual Pack-a-Back drive since running it for nearly 2 decades.
From transitional kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, there's a lot of backpacks to be given here. Now, how did it all start? Well, we spoke to one of the coordinators who said he was a student that benefited from one of these drives when he was younger.
It's about almost 15 years ago. And it's something we've always been grateful. My parents have always been grateful about it, and that's why that was one of the decisions why I wanted to work here as a staff member, kind of for full circle.
Alejandro Gonzalez is one of the 300 volunteers, and he says the money that families save can be used for groceries and other necessities, as some high school students may need advanced calculators that are oftentimes expensive.
On average, it saves the family about $400, just because now with everything that's increased, and not just in school materials, also in just rent over Bay Area is just expensive as it is.
In the 1 hour that NTD was at Sacred Heart, we were told over 200 backpacks were distributed. The nonprofit raised nearly $200,000 for the event.
We were one of the sponsors here for this event. What better way to give back to the community than to help kids in our community, give them a head start with, providing them the school supplies and things to put them on the right foot.
All these students, they're the future at the end of the day. They're the ones who will be leading us here on out and making sure, that they get the education that they deserve.
In San Jose, California, David Lam, NTD News.
All right, everyone, that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You will find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjing World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. If you'd like to share a news tip or let us know how we're doing, we'd love to hear from you. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.